What's up, everybody? It's your favorite friend in need is a friend indeed's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Fanshobby Laser Optimus Prime. And I gotta tell you about how this came into my possession, because it's a story that's worth telling. I'm not sure if you guys have Facebook, but if you do, I highly recommend that you check out a Facebook page called Third Party TF Crashers. I'll have the link in the description for this video. It's run by my buddy Whirl, who is a complete gentleman. Even my wife loves him, and my wife hates everybody. He asked me if I was going to get this. I told him no. He asked me if I wanted to review it. I said I wasn't really worried about it because I had already done the Scourge. And he said, well, look, I bought two by accident because I forgot I had one pre-ordered here and I bought another one there, etc., etc. I'm just going to give you one. And I was like, no, dude, you don't have to give me one. You know, at first I thought he just wanted me to review it and send it back. And then he was like, just keep it. And then I don't really want it. But he said, well, just see if T2RX6 does. So I called T2RX6 and I said, hey, would you be interested in this? He was like, absolutely. So I'm reviewing it and then I'm sending it on his way to him. But it's just a bunch of good dudes in this community if you look hard enough. Now, on to business. So I'm going to be going from truck mode to robot mode, which is something I always do how it comes in packaging. Only exception to that is if I've already done the same mold that way. So since I haven't done this mold from truck to robot, we're going to do that so that both modes of transformation are covered in my catalog of videos. I know people get tired of hearing that, but I have to say it just in case this is somebody's first. I always do how it's come packaging. Unless it's a repaint, I do it the reverse so that both are covered. That being said, let's talk about accessories. He does come with two guns, one for each of you, and they can be stored back here by just sliding that into that little place there. And then you can take this one and flip this part out, the more standard Optimus, and put that there. We'll talk about those and the sword in more detail now. So these are the guns up close. Lots of paint. We got some red paint. We got some, I think that's, either way we have some paint that might be red plastic here and there. Either way it looks good. And then we have silver paint and gold paint. And then this flips and flips. So no issues there. Same here, except it's just the red paint, no gold and silver. But it still does look cool and both feel well made. Then we have the sword. Translucent bluish purplish blade. Maybe too light on the color. Maybe could have gone a shade darker, but that's a subjective thing. Otherwise, the sculpt and everything is nice. No extra paint details. As for the truck itself, it rolls like a champ on rubber tires. And we have the silver detailings here for like the diamond plate, which I'm a big fan of on both. And the fuel drums, let's call them. We have like a purplish translucent windshield. That all looks good. The blue and gold or yellow details come through for your clearance lights. And then you got these turn signals down here and they're appropriate, and silver. And I mean, it looks good. My only real issue here is like that's lined up, but that's not even. You know, like it's like, whoa, and then across, you know, which is a little strange. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a bit distracting. And in the back, we had the silver and gold details, silver and gold. But that's something they didn't have to do. It's a little extra chrome for the wheels. Underside definitely looks like Optimus is hiding under there, but I think it's good enough. Chrome smokestacks, silver painted on the back. You know, it's a well-done truck. The Scourge was too, so I didn't expect anything to be, you know, poorly made about this. Fanshobby does make a pretty high-caliber product in terms of just the solidity of it. You know, sometimes they go a little too simple. Sometimes they overplay their hand a little bit and stuff like that. This could all be collapsed a bit more, but it's fine. But overall, they make a pretty good product, so I was expecting nothing less here. And it looks like it already wants to get transformed, so let's just get to that. For the legs, you can split them and slide them down. Now, you might get jammed up. There is a release pin. It shouldn't give you much problems on the way down, but I have noticed that this one doesn't move quite as smoothly as the other, at least on mine. On the back, you fold these around, and then you can slide those down. You can also keep them up, you know, but then you don't get the double jointed knee. So we're going to go ahead and keep them down, but you can keep them up to kind of hide that joint. On the back or on the side, open those up, and then they have some painted details in there, which is nice. You know, it's a little extra step. Slide these up. This one too is a little weird tolerance-wise, and we'll go on this one as well. And then the feet come down, the heel spurs come back, and that is the lower body. For the upper body, we're going to open these up, and it's just, this is it's not graceful, this transformation, but it is effective. We're going to open that up, and I think we can hide that down, but we'll keep it open for now. We're going to spin these, close these, and then this will fold inside of that cavity. But for now, we're going to open up this here and this here, and open up this as well, and flip the head out just to make sure that we are, and I want to make sure that I have this right, but I think it's just like this. Yeah, seems right to me. And then you can fold that down. After the head is out, you can turn it around, bring the shoulders out and around, and I'm sorry, they're supposed to be up. Yeah, this look for Optimus is not really my thing. And then you can close that in the back, bring the arms down, and then these, I'll tell you, like, these are really not the best tolerance, these hinges here, and I have stress marks identically on both sides on these small little pieces that this hinges onto. It's hard to see, but they're up in there by the pin. I'm not sure if it's the pin itself or if it's the strain of trying to open them. Either way is possible. And we'll do this side, and that should finish her off. See, there we go. At least I got to show you one of what I was talking about. And then there, spin the hand around. And there we go. We'll get them cleaned up, and we'll take a look at them. So I say somebody has a chip on their shoulder. Anyway, the head is on a hinged swivel, which is my preferred way of doing Masterpiece business. So it swivels here, it goes up a bit, could get a little bit more out of her, wouldn't have hurt them, and then down a good bit, so that's nice. Silver paint, I think that might just be gray plastic inside there. Blue plastic, the ears do move, and then the eyes have a beautiful turquoise chrome finish, similar to what we've seen Fans Toys do with the Dinobots. It's that sort of stylization. Moving down the figure, we have some silver paint details added here, as well as red and black. That looks good. This does open up to reveal one of my Autobot Matrix of Leadership. Of course, you have to include that whenever you're doing third-party or first-party Optimus Primes. You have to have your Autobot Leader of Matrix Ship. Good grief. I need to relax. Matrix of Leadership, rather. So there's a little bit of play here, like a slight ab crunch. It's something. It gets you a little bit. I think it counts for sure. And then you have the waist swivel, which gets a little jammed up on these pieces back here, but if you just move it out of the way, you're fine. So I think we should just give them full credit. Over here we have some silver paint. We have some yellow and black and red detailings. That all looks good. Oh, I'm supposed to move these up. I forgot about this. There, and it's not that big of a deal either way. I think it looks fine. But yeah, those slide up. So yeah, these joints here are on ratcheted joints inside the chest. So that gets you up to there. And then there's a universal joint here, which can get you a little bit more. If you're not using that, you can just use that joint and get this out of the way and bring this arm up. This isn't ratcheted, and you get to about there. But in order to get all of it, use the upper joint, and that should get you the arm out straight out to the side, which I think, given the design of this figure and like the bulk of the shoulders and all, I think it's good enough. I think I said that on Scourge as well. And then of course, you get a soft ratcheted swivel all the way around. So no issues there. Bicep swivel is just above the elbow. The elbow itself has a 90-degree hinge, single jointed. This can collapse a bit better. It'll get you well above 90 degrees. So yeah, good to go there. Some silver detailings there. Wrist swivel, fingers are on a base pin knuckle. The index finger is individually articulated, but it is a little loose. And then it has a second pin on the knuckle as well. A tad bit loose though. Same for this side. All of this stuff operates the same way. Universal joints for hips. They are ratcheted. Let's get some room here. Almost the full Van Damme. Almost the full Monty. So that's nice. Thigh swivel built into the bottom of the universal. Double jointed knee. Gets the leg all the way back to there. So that's nice. Silver detailings, both painted on the joint. I love when they paint joints. It's very rare that they do. But silver detailings on the joint itself, silver detailings on the pelvis, and on the thighs here, just around the squares, which is a nice touch. They did something very similar on the Scourge. I think it worked a little bit better there, but it still looks good here. Knees double jointed, we already looked at that. We have some red detailings there, and then just the wheels, and then the ankles, you got a tilt down. Nothing really up, maybe the slightest bit. You have an additional toe hinge, heel hinge, and rocker. No swivel, but I think all in all, a pretty well done unit. And there it is from the back, fairly clean. Real quick before we move on to size comparisons, I think this is worth showing. The guns are held, all the accessories are held really well by using like a groove and a little slot, like a system like Make Toys does. And then there's also these two pieces that can rotate. I just did one because it's difficult with these fingers of mine to do so. And then you can plug these weapons. Now, don't make me look like an idiot. In there, and then he can have them over his shoulder, or you can spin them around. You know, up to you in order to stow them, as it were. Size comparison wise, there he is with MP10. And I think that's a pretty decent size. I think they look great together if you had like a prime shelf. Final thoughts wise, let's talk about the negatives. There are very few. There's just that some of the fit and finish things, speaking of T2RX6, that are here, like the way that the legs slide a little bit, gets ate up a bit, the way that these side panels slide, the way that these panels slide. There's just some stuff here that doesn't move as smoothly as it should. In fact, I've noticed that the bicep swivels are greased up, so I guess they noticed some even before they shipped it. But really, I mean, that's the only real criticism I have of it. Now, that may be because I'm not as close to this representation of Prime. It doesn't really mean much to me, so I don't have as much invested or at stake with a release like this. But, I mean, objectively looking at it, that's the biggest complaint that I have, is just that some things don't move as smoothly as you would hope that they would. I mean, there's so much good that is done here that I struggle with the idea of getting rid of it and sending it to T2RX6. But you know, he doesn't quite fit in this box. If T2RX6 wants him, he's just gonna have to supply me a box. And that's mainly because there's just so much more positive to report here than negative, which seems to be par for the course with this company. The materials feel fine, the hardware feels great, all those clickety-clackety ratchets going on, all of them work stupendously. The accessories all make sense. There's not a lot of finish, but there's a lot of paint accents. I would like to see them explore the idea of adding some finish to some of this stuff, because I think that would put them over the top. Like, they painted the feet here, you know, like, and it looks great. That would be... If that was indicative of how they could do the rest of the figure, I think they could make something really pop. Articulation works pretty much across the board. I mean, you do have those shoulders. They are cumbersome. They do get in the way, but it's part of the character design, I believe. So, I mean, what are you going to do? It's like a necessary evil. So, yeah, I really can't. I mean, it has a strong presence. It feels like Optimus Prime. It feels like a cool Optimus Prime. It's just not ultimately for me, because... for me, Optimus Prime is G1, and that's pretty much it. Maybe IDW, maybe the video games, but that's really it. Sculpt work is great, line work, like, I don't know. There's not a lot of extra goodness that goes on with their products. It's very simple, it's very straightforward, but they're not bad. They're like simple, good, well-built pieces. So I definitely recommend this if you're in the market for a Prime of this aesthetic, or if you just dig Primes, or if you dig Masterpiece scale figures, or whatever the case may be. You definitely get a strong recommend from me. Just know that some of the things move a little weird, and just use a little care with those specific pieces. All right, it's off to T2. I'm a better person having known you, sir. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.